Hi, and welcome back to Movies Explained, where we break down your favorite movies for you. Today, we are going to recap a monster apocalypse movie called Troll. So, without further ado, let's begin. Upon reaching the peak of the mountains, both Nora and Tobias sit down and look over the troll peaks. Tobias asks Nora if she remembers her favorite childhood fairy tale about 13 drunk trolls who got lost after celebrating a wedding, after which they were turned into stones under the mountain. Nora tells her father that she doesn't believe in the fairy tale anymore. Upon hearing this, Tobias tells her that she first has to believe in the story. Only then she can see it, and to see it with the heart rather with the eyes. Nora takes a deep breath and opens her eyes again to see the sculptured faces of the trolls in the mountains. 20 years later, Nora is working on a project as an archaeologist, hoping to find any traces of fossils from extinct animals. After 6 months of digging and hopping, the team finally found a footprint of a giant animal. The whole team celebrates the moment together. On the other hand, the Norwegian government is planning on building an underground railway in the mountains of Drove. Despite the protest from the activists, the team explodes the mountain with the bombs in order to clear a pathway for the rails. After that, a team of workers goes inside the mountains to check the inside, but just then they hear rumbling and roaring and the mountains explode and all of them die inside. The incident is reported to the Norwegian Armed Forces headquarters in Oslo. The Prime Minister is alerted about the situation. The Prime Minister orders her advisor, Andreas, to call archaeologists and biologists and all other specialists so that they can assess the situation from the videos and images they received from their team. A team escorts Nora to the headquarters where she meets Andreas, who tells her that the situation is of national security level and that she will find details in the joint meeting. In the room, she finds all the prominent leaders of the nation. At first, everyone declined the possibility of being attacked by a monster or animal, but Sigrid manages to hijack a video from a spectator of the incident. After watching it multiple times, they find a blurred picture of a monster that resembles a troll. After the meeting, Nora is appointed as the scientific advisor of the whole matter, and Andreas escorts her to the mountains of Drove. Upon reaching there, Captain Holmes reports to them of an incident that took place in the morning. An old couple reports an incident in the morning where they heard rumbling and roaring coming from a distance. The rumbling then changes to a huge earthquake, and the couple take refuge in the basement. After the incident, huge footprints were left and half of their house was destroyed. After hearing about the whole incident, Nora asks them if they notice anything else from the incident. The old lady answers her by telling that she heard a howling of a melody, a sad, heartbreaking melody. After hearing the whole incident, Nora inspects the footprints of the giant and then tells Andreas and Captain Chris Holmes that they need to visit her father. Nora tells Andreas that her father was a folklorist and that his imagination ran wild after a while. Nora tells her father about the incident, and her father tells all three of them that it is a troll. After hearing the words troll, Nora again accuses her father of his wild imagination, but Tobias tells them that all the old work in trolls is destroyed because they knew that they existed in real life and were not just a part of a fairy tale. He then tells them that he has to visit the place where they found the troll's last footprints. The helicopter takes them to the mountains where the troll was last seen. Upon reaching the place, Tobias informs Nora that the topography is different from the map. They are discussing the possibilities when they hear a rumbling sound. Upon hearing the rumbling sound, they both turn around and see the eyes of the troll. Andreas, who is standing a little far, informs Chris of the situation. Chris orders the pilot to start the engine, and the team barely manages to get out of there. In the meantime, Chris calls the headquarters and reports to them a video of the whole incident. After hearing about the whole thing, all four are invited to a virtual meeting where Nora asks them to give her some time to assess the situation, whereas Tobias insists on calling the giant as a troll and warns the officials that they should not go against nature and to cancel the railway plan. But the Prime Minister calls a military operation and tells both of them that the military will take care of it. Tobias disagrees with the military approach and tells Nora that they have to mediate the way. Nora then pleads with Chris to let them go with him on the operation. The military commander agrees on the condition that they will lay low and follow his orders all the time. The military invades the forest with tanks and super weapons ready to destroy the troll. The live footage of the whole scene is being broadcast in Oslo. In the darkness, Andreas and Tobias talk about all the possibilities of what that troll can do, and while Tobias also narrates the old folktale about the trolls. After a while, Tobias approaches Nora and talks to her about their last adventures and tells her that she has been through a lot, especially after her mother's death. Both father and daughter once again reconcile, recalling their last adventures. Just then, they hear a low rumble alerting everyone. Tobias tells Nora that the troll knows that they are here and he is letting everyone know of his presence. Once the troll is visible, Chris asks the headquarters for their permission to engage the target. After receiving the permission, he orders open fire at the troll. None of the attack from the weapons affected troll in any way. The troll one by one destroys the weapons and the vehicles as well as the soldiers. They saw him eat a man with Christian blood. Upon seeing this, Tobias thinks that maybe some of the old myths are true about the trolls. He calls him over and tells him that he means no harm and that he is a friend. Just when Tobias manages to calm him down, one of the men in the tank again open fires. Troll then attacks Tobias, which results in severe injuries to him. Tobias dies there but tells Nora to believe before taking his last breath. Nora is now shaken up because of her father's death but proposes a plan to destroy the troll. She informs the authorities that in old tales, trolls are affected by the sound of bells and that maybe if they try they can subdue the giant monster. Just then, they receive the news that Troll is heading southeast towards the theme park. The officials then give her permission and authorize the plan. After that, 4 helicopters emerge in the air and surround the troll. The ringing sound of bells annoys the troll. He starts to act out in fury and destroys everything around him. He catches the helicopters with his hands and throws them to the ground and also saves a young boy from getting under a helicopter. Upon seeing this, he left the park. Back in the headquarters, officials worry about the situation as it takes the headlines all over the world. The team also confirms that the troll is making his way to the capital. The military officials request immediate evacuation of the city and offer to take down the troll using the missiles. Andreas completely disapproves of the recommendation and offers his resignation. Upon coming out of the meeting, Andreas informs Nora about the evacuation of the city and missiles. The Prime Minister makes a press conference and informs the general public to evacuate the city and to look after one another in the time of crisis and promises that the officials will try their best to overcome the situation. After hearing the announcement, Nora looks through her father's journal to find a clue, but all the clues point to one word, Sinding. Upon hearing the word, Andreas tells her that he knows someone by the name of Ricard Sinding, who is the Lord Chamberlain of the Royal Palace. Nora then tells him to make his way to the palace where they meet Sinding. Sinding comments that he is not surprised to see the child of Tideman here. He then shows them the ruins of the troll's last king and tells them that the royal palace was built 12 years ago above the old troll's king place. He then also tells them that they wronged Tobias 12 years ago and apologizes to Nora. Sinding tells them that a massacre took place during the Christianization of Norway and all the trolls were killed except one, the son of the king, who was lured to the mountains and was left there to die. After hearing the news, Nora tells them that the king wants to come back to his home and that is why he is making his way to the city. While inspecting the ruins, Nora notices that the bone melts away under the UV light. Nora then tells Andreas that the myth that they die in sunlight is true. She explains to them that they have seen the troll in a day but never in the sunlight. Nora then proceeds and calls Chris and tells him her plan and takes him on board. Andreas also calls Sigrid to hack the system as a raven set out to attack the troll with a missile. Chris calls the backup of his trusted men and switch on all the sirens in the city and diverts Troll's direction to a far place from the city. Nora, with the help of palace guards, manages to load the skull of one of the dead trolls on the back of a truck and sets out to find the troll with Andreas. When the troll sees the skull, he immediately recognizes the skull of his kin and follows the cars and destroys everything in his way. The skull drops down on the road from the car and the troll picks it up and roars a mournful cry. Seeing this, Nora realizes how alone the troll was in the mountains. The troll destroys the skull by mistake and roars in fury. He then follows Andreas and Nora, who takes him to the abandoned grounds away from the city. Back in the grounds, Chris is ready with his people with a UV light source to destroy him. Back at the headquarters, one of the officials catches Sigrid because of hacking the system and again orders the Raven to proceed with the task. Upon reaching the grounds, Raven reports to them that there are civilians in the grounds with the troll. The Raven is then ordered to abort the mission. Down in the grounds, Troll attacks Andreas and Nora and they barely manage to get out of the car before Troll completely destroys it. Chris quickly turns on the UV light system and the troll starts to melt away slowly in front of their eyes. Upon seeing the whole thing, Nora comments how it is against nature and hurries to shut off all the UV lights. She then calls out the troll and tells him to go back to the mountains where he would be safe. The troll calms down after hearing her pleas, but just then the sun comes up and the troll melts away in seconds in front of their eyes. For one last time, Nora comforts the troll before he is dead. After the whole scene, the officials arrive at the scene and the Prime Minister thanks Nora for her efforts. Andreas also tells the Prime Minister that he will resign and will now become a writer just like he always wanted to be. Before going back from the grounds, Andreas asks Nora if there are more like him in the mountains, and the movie ends here. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, then please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot to us. Also, make sure you write down the movies you would want to watch next on our channel in the comments section. This will be all from us for today. We will see you in the next one.